Saints fans, we get it, starting 0-2 hurts. But worse than losing, pretending everything's fine. And that's why the big question this week is loud and real. Is it time to part ways with one of the brightest stars on this roster? He's young, he's talented, he's producing, but he's stuck in an offense that isn't going anywhere. And with his value sky-high across the league, the timing might never be better. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about the decision that could change the Saints' future for better or for much worse. Chris Olave is without question the top offensive player in New Orleans right now. Since entering the league, he's been producing tough catches, elite separation, and solid stats despite playing in a limited offense. He's a true WR1. But that's the issue. He's stuck on a team that's nowhere near contention. The Saints aren't close to a Super Bowl in 2025. They lack the roster depth, the consistency, and maybe even the coaching direction to get there. So here's the dilemma. Is it worth keeping a talent like Olave trapped in a half-baked rebuild, or would it be smarter to move him now for a haul of draft picks and start fresh? The first team that comes to mind is the New York Jets. The fit just makes too much sense. First off, the Jets need another receiver badly. Garrett Wilson is carrying the load almost entirely by himself in the passing game. But more importantly, there's a deep connection here. Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, and quarterback Justin Fields played together at Ohio State. They were dominant in college, and their chemistry was undeniable. If the Jets could reunite that trio in the NFL, it wouldn't just be a fun story, it'd be a strategic power move. New York has the draft capital to make a deal, and if they can pull it off and extend Olave, they'd suddenly have a young, dynamic core to build around. It could be the move that changes everything. Another team to watch, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their situation is similar. They believe they can compete, especially with Aaron Rodgers now under center. But Rodgers needs help. DK Metcalf has been elite, but there's no reliable WR2. Calvin Austin has flashed, but he's more of a third or fourth op. Adding Olave to that mix would be a game changer. It would open up the offense, create mismatches, and give Rodgers the type of duo he thrives with. Mike Tomlin has never been afraid to make bold moves, and if the Steelers believe they're close, this is the kind of trade they'd consider. But the team that might make the most sense, both in need and mindset, is the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, the reigning Super Bowl champions. Because one thing has become painfully clear early this season: Patrick Mahomes needs help. The Chiefs' offense is still functional, but far from the dominant force it once was. There's a lack of explosiveness, and Andy Reid knows that's a problem. Chris Olave would change that instantly. He can line up anywhere, run every route, make contested catches, and stretch the field. In Kansas City, he'd immediately become Mahomes' top target. He'd give this offense a new layer of danger. And let's be honest, the Chiefs aren't the type to sit back and accept a step backward. If they need to make a bold trade to stay on top, they will. Of course, all of this depends on one very difficult decision by the Saints. Trading Chris Olave isn't easy. You'd be letting go of a homegrown star, a potential top 5 receiver for years to come. But sometimes building the future means making sacrifices now. And keeping a superstar in a going-nowhere offense can burn out both the player and his value. Right now, Olave's trade value is sky-high. He's healthy, he's young, he's producing. And he's still on a rookie contract. That means the Saints can ask for a massive return, maybe a first-round pick or multiple second-rounders. Teams with urgency and championship aspirations will pay. As the season progresses, this kind of blockbuster move only becomes more likely, especially if the Saints keep losing. Holding on to false hope is expensive in the NFL. And sometimes, knowing when to sell is what separates a true rebuild from another year in the middle of nowhere. So now I ask you, which team is the best fit for Chris Olave? The Jets, the Steelers, or the Chiefs? And if you were the Saints GM, would you pull the trigger now or wait until the deadline? Drop your take in the comments, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe with notifications on, because the Chris Olave saga might just be the biggest storyline of this NFL season.